Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Adams Teaches English Language. I'm just here today to wish you a massive good luck for the final English exam. So I'm talking about the Edexcel English Language Paper 2, and I just wanted to give you some last minute advice. So I'm going to start with the first section, Section A, which is where you're dealing with two different non-fiction texts that you're going to answer some questions on and then eventually compare. The first thing I will say to you is take them one at a time. Don't read both of them all in one go. Read text A first and then focus on those questions 1 to 3. Always read the blurb, okay? By blurb, I mean the little bit of italicized context that you get given at the top of the page, because that's going to tell you, crucially, what happens in the text, but also what the genre of the text is, whether it's part of an autobiography or a letter. And that's going to help you figure out who the reader is, because obviously your question 3 always asks you about how the reader is interested and engaged. So it's really important to think to yourself, well, who is the reader? Because chances are it's not you. You just happen to be reading it in the exam. But when it was written, it might have been meant for people that are interested in space travel or people that are foodies. Or in one case, if you think, I can't remember whether it was a specimen text or past paper, but one of the papers was actually a letter from the trenches. So who's the reader? It's the man's wife. So always make sure that you've thought that through before you start your responses. Questions 1 and 2, read the question carefully. Don't lose marks by misunderstanding what information they want you to find. Question 3 is the biggie. This is your 15 marker, okay? Language and structure. Best way in, go at it from a whole text structure. Think, how does it begin in order to engage? Where does it change? Does it sort of zoom in or does it zoom out to give a kind of broader context? Is there a shift in tone? Is there a shift in time? And then how does it end? And if you frame your paragraphs with that in mind, like your topic sentence is focused more on whole text structure, then you're going to give yourself room to then analyze language and sentence level structure in the rest of your paragraph, okay? So whole text structure would be something along the lines of, in paragraph 3, there is a shift in tone where it moves from jovial and light-hearted when it's talking about X, Y, and Z to more serious as it talks about the processes involved. Yeah, I'm making it up as I go. Then you pop your quotes in and then you focus on, is there a metaphor? Is there a simile? Is there a repetition or a triple or triad, whatever you call it? And then that means that you're getting everything. Remember, if you don't comment on both language and structure, they will cap you. So you're going to end up with less than half marks, which you don't want. Read through your work every paragraph. That means that if you've made a mistake in the first one or say, forgotten to use critical terms, then you'll remember for the next ones and you can make your corrections. Once you've done that, then you read text 2. Go through the same process. Look at the little blurb. Work your way through. Read the question 4 and 5 very carefully to make sure that you're getting the right content. If it says a phrase, use a phrase. If it says a word, use a word. Make sure you follow it exactly. Question 6 is an evaluate. So it's very, very similar to the question 4, I always get that wrong, question 4 on the paper 1. So it shouldn't be too scary. Now, some people still like to use things like spite or pest to work their way through. If that works for you, go for it. If you don't find that so helpful, then just check what the subject of the question is, because it will be like, evaluate how successfully they have engaged the audience through the description of the climb, yeah? And so then think, right, well, I'm going to isolate all of the depictions of the climb and then think about what they're doing. You don't have to analyze language and structure in this one, but if it's relevant, you can put it in. Have a look at my have a look at my videos on how to evaluate for a little bit more focus on how to do those paragraphs. The most important thing is that you remember, the most important thing is that you remember your evaluative adverbs and adjectives powerfully, effectively, compellingly, successfully. Examiners are looking out for them. Right, so that's the first 2 bits done. Now you have got the 7A and 7B. So this is worth 20 marks. You've got to make sure you get to this part of the paper. 7A, people mess this up because they overcomplicate it. 7A is just information retrieval. It's only focused on similarities. You don't need to do any analysis whatsoever, and you're only focusing on content. So it would look like both the subjects of the extracts enjoy shopping, quote, quote. They both like to look at bargains, as shown here, quote, and then quote, furthermore, they both experienced horror when they broke an ornament in a shop, quote, quote, thereabouts. But do you notice there's no style in there? They will not give you marks for, they both use rhetorical questions, quote, quote. You'll get nothing for that, okay? And then 7B, the whopper, similarities and differences, ideas and perspectives in your topic sentence. So the writer of text A feels excited about the climb, whereas the writer of text B is daunted. Quote from one, analysis, link over, quote from the other, analysis, lather, rinse, repeat. It's important that you get a range of comparisons. So work fast and don't get into too lengthy an analysis, okay? Little bit of analysis and then move on because they're trying to cover everything. This part of the paper works out as about a minute per mark, okay? Because it's 2 hours, 5 minutes in total. You've got 45 minutes for the transactional. That means that it gives you a little over 20 minutes for reading and then 56 minutes for the 56 marks. So keep an eye on the clock, okay? To make sure that you get to that 7A and 7B. You're not done. You've still got section B, transactional writing. So you're going to get a choice of 2, thank goodness. And my advice to you would be, don't necessarily go with the genre that you know the best, go with the content you know the best. So, you know, if it's asking you to write a letter and you love letters, but on a subject that you know nothing about, have a little look at the other one, okay? And the most important thing here is obviously your accuracy, but hit the conventions of the form whilst also being compelling in your argument. With my student side tutor, I call it the razzle dazzle. So kind of think to yourself, how much razzle dazzle do I need for this form and with this audience? So is it sort of lighthearted and humorous and a speech to my peers, and therefore I can use lots of, you know, puns or, you know, I can show my sense of humor, I can use metaphors, or is it actually something that's a lot more formal, in which case I might kind of focus more on facts and stats and expert opinion and nice powerful triad, you know, those ideas. Again, read your work through as you go so that you can pick up on the mistakes rather than leaving it to the end when you're going to be absolutely exhausted because you're going to be writing for Britain. So transactional writing, assess the genre, audience and purpose. So what am I being asked to do? What form? Who's it for? And what's the purpose? Come up with your kind of big ideas, sort of 3-ish big ideas, and then think, how much razzle dazzle? And then smash that opening. Make sure that your opening sings and that it's accurate, because that's the first thing your examiner is going to see of your transactional writing. That's it from me. This is the final bit of GCSE advice that I am offering for 2024. That's so exciting. Massive good luck to everyone. I hope it has all gone well. I've got to do it. I'm sorry, I said it before. Good luck to my Vic boys. I hope everything goes well. And please let me know how it all goes in the comments. Massive good luck. Thank you once more for the last time. Happy revising.